Hello and welcome to the Word Ninja podcast. We're here on June 30th, 2013 for episode 2, Electric Boogaloo. The Word Ninja podcast is an hour-long, give or take, discussion of writing, reading, general literary news of interest at the moment. I'm your instigator of literary insanity, Charles Muir, and today we have no one at the moment. I know there's a few people who said they were interested in joining us, and hopefully they'll be able to get on soon. We shall see how that works out. But I thought I'd get things rolling at 3 o'clock, since that was the suggested start time. And we'll see if anyone happens to be able to join us as we go. Alright, so I thought we'd start things off with some literary news pieces, or at least stuff I saw off of scoopit.com this week that would be worth discussing, although it would have been nicer had we had a few people to discuss it with. We shall see. Let's see. The first article, which is linked on our Facebook page, and it's from the Huffington Post. I know, not the most reliable news source, but it is what it is. It's titled 31 Most Invaluable Writing Pieces of Let's try that again. 31 Most Invaluable Pieces of Writing Advice from Famous Authors. Kind of a mouthful. It's just a slideshow of 31 quotes from various authors. A lot of them from Ernest Hemingway and Stephen King. They have a lot of quotes about writing. And some others that I've actually never heard of offhand. I mean, a quote from Will Self. I'm not sure what he's written. I've never heard the name before, but always carry a notebook. And I mean always. The short-term memory only retains information for 3 minutes. Unless it is committed to paper, you can lose an idea forever. I thought that was an interesting one. I mean, I do try to always carry a notebook or some scrap of paper with me, regardless of where I am or what I'm doing, just on the off chance that I do have an idea at any given time. And I know all too well what it's like to not have something to write things down on when I have an idea and I need to try and remember it. Usually late at night when I'm trying to go to sleep, and I think, this is awesome, I should remember this. But then I don't write it down, and that sucks. Because I won't remember. Let's see. Some others were just skimming through them. Protect the time and space in which you write. Keep everybody away from it, even the people who are most important to you, by Zadie Smith. Another one I'm not familiar with. Shows how many authors I've actually read. It's probably because they haven't done sci-fi or fantasy. Skimming through some more. Oh, a good one by Mark Twain was substitute damn every time you're inclined to write very. Your editor will delete it and the writing will be just as it should be. Which is surprisingly true, at least in the concept of removing the word very and other similar words from your writing. A lot of them are very overused and should only be used sparingly at most, if at all. Oh, and of course, always a good one. Don't take anyone's writing advice too seriously, by Lev Grossman. And that includes anything and probably everything you hear on this podcast. One by Herman Melville that I don't necessarily agree with 100% would be, to produce a mighty book, you must choose a mighty theme. What constitutes a mighty theme nowadays? I mean, that seems more cultural and generational thing. I mean, themes change constantly. How do you know what's mighty and what's not? Skimming through some more. Of course, Stephen King. The scariest moment is always just before you start. Which is true sometimes. There have been plenty of moments where I've tried thinking about what I need to write and I just get too caught up in the moment of, crap, it's a blank page. What do I do? What do I do? Eventually I come over it, or I just procrastinate and do something else. Depends on the moment. Just checking to see where people are, because theoretically someone was trying to join. Don't know why they're not. We'll see how it goes. Skim through some more of the quotes quickly, trying to buy time. If you do not tell the truth about yourself, you cannot tell it about other people. Virginia Woolf. I don't know about that one. I mean, there are varying degrees of truth. And there are some things that are true, but you probably shouldn't say it. Or at least there are certain ways you should not say it. There is this thing called tact, which a lot of people don't seem to have much anymore. Myself included sometimes. I think we're running out of quotes here that I'm skimming through, but let's see if we can get one more. Alright. Apparently I'm at the last one already, so let's do that one. Wait, 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 wait. Don't try to write through it, to force it. Many do, but that won't work. Just wait. It will come. None other than Toni Morrison. There's a balance to that one. I mean, how long can you wait? How long should you wait? If you wait too long, you might lose the idea entirely, and you'll never be able to get it back. I've had plenty of ideas where I decided to wait too long, and then I forgot the original inspiration behind it. And I just couldn't find my way back into it. And I have a whole series of notebooks with ideas now that I'm probably never going to end up writing or using because I have no idea what they mean anymore. I waited too long. Well, for the future people out there listening or watching this, I would pass on a question of what is one of your favorite writing quotes? What sort of inspiration and one-liners have you heard about writing where you thought, oh yeah, that's a good one. I should remember that one. Which ones do you appreciate or thought were clever? Post in the comments. Or even on our Facebook page. Please. Alright, I guess we'll roll into the second piece of, or the second website that I thought was interesting that caught my eye this week. It's Cube Creator. It's a very long website URL, but it's from www.readwritethink.org, and it's just called the Cube Creator. It has a couple preset templates for 6 sides of the cube for figuring out your bio, type of the mystery, or just key elements to a story. You can even create your own cube. It gives that option and the ability to save it. But it's basically just kind of looks like it's Flash-based or something like that. Gives you the option of writing a question or... Sorry about that. I forgot that volume was up on that. My bad. Let's silence that for the live stream. Otherwise, this thing will be shouting spoon at us all afternoon. Where was I? The Cube Creator has a little worksheet for planning out 6 questions or topics, and you can fill in your responses. And once you fill out the little template and whatnot, you can see a little 3-dimensional view. What is that? Sorry, I just keep getting some sort of notification ding in my headset. I'm not sure what program is doing that at the moment. Anyway, this website is really cool and worth checking out. And you can have a lot of fun, and it gives you the option of saving whatever little cube you create, which is pretty cool. I haven't actually finished one full out, but I mean, for example, the bio cube gives you prompts for person's name, time period, and place. Another side would be the personal background, personal traits, what their significance is to the stories, what obstacles do they face, and some important quote. Presumably might be like their catchphrase or something that kind of embodies what that character stands for. And it just gives you the ability to fill in the information for those prompts so you can have it easily on hand, kind of like a story Bible, as it were, for particular parts of your story. It's really cool, and I think I'm going to use it in the future. If any of you have actually utilized this in the past, present, or future, post a comment about what you thought of it. Did it work for you? Did it not? Was it really cool or just frustrating? Let us know. We're curious. Or should I say, I'm curious, since I'm still the only one here. Where are these people? I'm not sure what happened to them. Most frustrating. Anyway, the third and last news piece for this week is one of my favorite writing apps for the PC primarily, but it's also available on the App Store for those Apple fans out there. I'm still waiting for the Android version. Not sure how long that's going to take, but I look forward to it when they do. It's called Write or Die, and it's conveniently at the URL writeordie.com. It's basically a timed writing writing software. You set the amount of time you want to write, and it gives you a level of peer pressure, as it were. I mean, it can give you a very annoying sound, like a screeching violin, if you stop writing for too long as you're trying to think of ideas. It can also just give you a little pop-up prompt of, hey, you stopped writing, get back to it. And of course, the worst setting was kamikaze, where if you stop writing long enough, it'll start deleting the letters and entire words, potentially your entire piece, if you don't start typing. I've used that a lot, and it's provided the type of motivation to actually just stream of consciousness almost write whatever I need to get written in whatever deadline I set. I usually do it for 10 minutes. That seems to be the amount of time I can sprint with writing. Any longer than that, and it becomes hit or miss as to whether I kind of just peter out and lose steam by 11 or 12 minutes. I've also done 30 minutes, which is crazy, but that's when I'm really behind deadlines and I really need to write stuff, or else. And it is effective. I mean, yes, you can cheat and pause it or X out before any words get deleted or the screeching violin kicks in or anything like that. But I try not to cheat with that as much as I can. But it's definitely worth checking out. And I know there's a lot of other writers who have utilized it or at least tried it out. So if you have, either in the past, present, or future, again, leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of the program. Did you like it, hate it, despise it, want to set it on fire? Let us know. All right. That's burned up through our literary news for the week. Now it's time to switch over to the talking points segment. Woo! Although it's not much of a talking points segment if I have no one to talk to. Disappointing. Well, maybe someone will be able to hop on eventually. The first talking point I had for this week was, how do you go about organizing your ideas and fleshing them out? It's a very important aspect of the writing process. Especially for me, I get dozens of ideas per day. Well, okay, maybe a dozen a day, depending on the day. And I tend only to write down 2 or 3 at a time, at most. Sometimes I'm better at it than others. Depends on what I'm doing and how much I'm multitasking and juggling and whatnot. But I try to write down at least the base ideas of what I'm trying to think of, and I've gotten a lot better about just doing a 3 or 4 bullet point outline of what am I trying to get across? Who am I trying to get it across to? And if need be, what is my deadline for it? Like, do I need it today? Can it wait for the week? How long is it going to be? Maybe even. Yeah, sometimes word count is important, especially if I'm doing an article or a report piece for work or writing, then word count is imperative, as are the deadlines. But I found that outlining just that much really helps frame my mind as to what I want to do and convey. And if I don't do that, if I just sit down, blank piece of paper, okay, right, it tends not to go well. It's usually a crapshoot as to what actually happens. Sometimes I actually just get the first draft out and I can work from there. Usually it's just a jumble of ideas and concepts that I'm just vomiting out onto the page. And then it takes twice as long for me to figure out what the patterns are in it. Okay, well, this paragraph connects to this paragraph, but it has to bypass all of this stuff over here. So I need to move it around and shuffle it about like a deck of cards. And if I just took the 10 minutes or so beforehand to figure all that stuff out first, it goes so much quicker. At least for me. I mean, some people despise outlining and prefer just to run by the seat of their pants and figure things out as they go, and somehow it works out for them. Not for me. And I know plenty of other writers who, on the flip side, outline everything down to the very last detail before they actually start writing the piece. Because if they don't have everything in its right place, then it just won't work. I'm kind of an in-between, I think. I mean, I kind of vary up a little to sometimes more outline than less, and vice versa. Depends on the piece and the time and all that. It's all contextual, you know. And for all you viewers and listeners, what about you? Do you organize? Do you flesh things out? What sort of processes do you use? Is it just a basic report outline? Do you do idea mapping, snowflake method? What are your preferences? Comment, let us know. Email us if it's longer than a comment's worth of commentary. And perhaps we'll be able to read it out on future episodes. Please get in touch with us. We are curious about other writers' methods and processes and just what they do. Well, since there's no one else around to ask, I guess I can kind of roll into the next talking point. Next talking point. Do you edit / proofread, depending on the day, digitally or on printed copy? What's more effective for you? For me, I do both. For the cheating answer, it depends on the length of the piece and the complication or complicatedness of the piece. If it's just a short little article or blog piece or something quick and easy, I tend to just do it on the computer. I use Word, usually with the tracked changes option, so that I can figure out just what's been fiddled with. But if it's longer than a page, I usually print it out so that I can mark it up with a red pen, and for some reason on the printed page I just catch things that I normally wouldn't on the computer. I don't know, I guess my eyes see things differently on a screen compared to actual paper. I know some writers who are like that and others who it's all or nothing, digital or print, one or the other. They can't go back and forth. And let's see, for my novels, it's actually mostly been printed, which has caused no shortage of complications, especially if I don't number the pages, good lord. 60 pages or so of a novel, if you don't number the pages and you drop them or shuffle them, it does not end well. It's like a puzzle where all the pieces are upside down in the same color, and you don't know which ones can match to the others because they're all the same size. It doesn't work. So if you do print them out, number your pages for the love of sanity. At work, it's also been printed pages. I mean, mostly so that we have some sort of trackable record of, okay, who made what changes to what, and then we can mark off the mark-offs or markups. Like, I'll do it in red, and then someone marks off in blue the changes that they accept or don't accept. It goes back and forth. It can be a whole rainbow of colors by the time the thing is done. And I actually haven't been doing as much writing for myself lately as I'd like to, so I haven't been doing as much editing for that as I normally would be. So digital or print isn't much, it's kind of a moot point for that. Kind of wish I had the Jeopardy theme to just kind of roll time forward a little bit, trying to buy time for people. Might actually just be a one-man show today at this rate, which is sad. Hold on. Just checking something. I have no idea what that is. Sorry. Easily distracted trying to check out what is going on with other people, or what is not going on, as the case seems to be. Anyway, since no one is joining us, it looks like, I guess we can roll into talking point number 3. Kinda just fly through this episode, since I don't have a counter talker to bounce ideas off of or distract me. Talking point number 3. What's your preferred writing method? Computer, notepad, tablet, sticky note? Do you write differently depending on the technology available to you? I mean, are some better than others? What are your preferences? I mean, at this point, I have, let's see, I have a PC, I also work on a Mac, I have a phone, a quote-unquote smartphone. It's not that smart. I now have a new tablet. It's all shiny and nice and distracting. I have notepads in a whole stack over there that I don't really use as much as I should. I mean, I have pretty much every option available to me, but primarily I'm writing on the PC or the Mac, mainly because that's where I'm in front of most of the time. I kind of got the tablet as an in-between for all of my commuting time. I mean, I commute 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. I don't always carry a laptop around with me during then. So I found just a little tablet can be kind of a nice midpoint option for tossing on my ideas and working on new pieces and new talking points for future episodes and stuff like that. It's kind of... What am I trying to say? It's taken some time to get used to, because the tablet is a lot smaller than my full-sized keyboard that I am addicted to. I mean, I refuse to get a computer that is smaller than, what's the bare minimum? I think 15 inches, so that I can have the full keyboard with the number pad and all that. I need the number pad. Even if I don't use it that much, I like that extra space and ability to use the number pad on a keyboard. You don't have that on a tablet or a smartphone or anything like that. It's all squished together, and my thumbs are slow and apparently not very coordinated for such options, but I'm slowly getting better at it. And it is nice to have something that small and portable in my bag that I can just pull out. Hey, here's an idea that I want to talk about or work on and expand in the future. And then I can just toss it right on there. And I've even been testing out the Google Voice option because it's an Android tablet. I don't really care for the Apple tablet. Or the, what is it, the iPad. I don't care much for them, so I got the Android version. But as I was saying, the Google Voice, I guess, is 85% accurate for what I say versus what it types. But it can be convenient if I need to get an idea on to the digital paper quickly, and I don't want to take the extra 2 minutes to try and type it out with my uncoordinated thumbs. And then it's easy enough to go back and fix, like, no, I didn't mean that word or that phrase. How could you listen to my voice and think I was saying that? Stupid Google Voice. Stuff like that. And when it comes to like editing or reading any of that stuff, again, I tend to go back to the printed paper or the laptop screen because it's nice and big. And as you can see by my glasses, my eyesight is not exactly the greatest. I like having a big screen rather than just a tiny phone or tablet that I need to have like right up here so that I can read it. That just looks awkward and silly. And it's tiring. At least with the computer screen, I can lean forward, lean back, change the sizing of it, and all that. And we've already burned through all 3 talking points for this week, just with me rambling. As with previous talking points, if you have your preferences and opinions as to just what technology do you use to write, send us a comment, respond to the video, send us an email, get in touch with us. If you're watching this, obviously you found our YouTube channel. Share, like, comment, etc. for that. And same goes for Facebook. If you want to actually email us, so you can use more than like 140 characters or however many YouTube allows and whatnot, our email address is wordninja@fcwriters.com. Kind of like the podcast. Nice and easy to remember. Hold on one moment. That is unusual. Ah! I just noticed that we actually have another viewer on YouTube. To Calvin, it is still not too late. We have probably about 15-20 minutes left to go on the podcast, depending on how quickly I burn through things. Not sure why or how your comp failed you. Shame on it. If you can still hop on, please do so. Kind of wish there was a notification or some such to show that, hey, you have YouTube comments. You should pay attention to that, especially during a live stream. Silly Google Hangouts. But yeah, that kind of burned through the talking points, which means that we are now down to the What Have You Been Reading segment. As I talked about last week, I've been reading a lot of John Lalo, primarily with The Book of Deacon was last week. I had already started the sequel called The Convergence, and I finished that earlier this week. Hey, it's a Calvin.
Ah,
Hello.
hey there.
What did you do to your computer?
Let's see. I went to join the Hangout. Oh, wait. Google plugin failed. I gotta restart the computer. I go to restart the computer. Oh, hey, webcam drivers want to update. And it took 15 minutes to download and install all the updates.
Good lord, how out of date was your computer?
I don't know, man. So I'm glad to finally get everything stable, though I'm highly annoyed right now. Trying to stabilize things here. Good enough. Hi.
Hello. For those of you who are viewing in the future or just listening audibly in the future, Calvin Williams just joined us on the podcast. He is our lead technical guru of awesomeness who helps fix things when I implode the website or break anything else by just poking it with a stick.
See, yeah, it kind of seemed to be one of those days in terms of technology today. But it looks like everything's stable for now, so I'm gonna do myself a favor and not touch anything.
Okay. Well, while your computer was playing shenanigans with you, I went through our news pieces for the week and our 3 talking points, but I'd be glad to roll back to them if you'd care to provide your opinion.
Sure. It's up to 'em.
All right. The talking points were: how do you go about organizing your ideas and fleshing them out?
That's a good one. As somebody who, on at any given point of the day, has a million things going on in their head, I've had to come up with certain strategies to figure out, um, okay, how can I get this idea down? My issue is, uh, I'm kind of a jack of all trades, between dealing with web design, graphic design, IT stuff 5 days a week for work, music, and short stories and random righty type stuff that I wanna try to get out. It it really begins to become a real kludge trying to organize ideas. So
Yeah, you do a little bit of everything.
yeah. So thankfully, services like Evernote, Google's new note service, Google Drive, and all the various simple writing applications like Notepad, Notepad++, are a real godsend for me in terms of trying to write down ideas while I can still remember them. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. An idea can come up, and as quickly as it pops in my head, it can fall out.
I know that all too well from
Hmm.
me as well.
So
I I've become addicted to the Google Drive and Google Keep duo. I've yet to get into Evernote, even though I know you are obsessed and addicted to it.
yeah, EverDrive has saved my butt quite a few times. The fact it's the first cloud note-taking service that I've come across, and the fact that it's in the cloud helps me out tremendously because I have my computer here at home, my computer at work, my tablet, and my phone here. So anytime an idea comes along, Evernote is usually my go-to to try to jot down whatever is in my head. So usually the first electronic device I can get my hands on is my phone. So I'll jump on Evernote on my phone and just try to jot down whatever idea I have. It's kind of interesting with all the different things that I do. Thankfully, I usually don't have like code stuck in my head. Usually I can sit and work that out at a computer or my tablet or something. But when it comes to like song ideas, melodies, lyrics, different things like that, the easiest thing is to jump on Evernote and just like type everything frantically while I still have the idea in my head.
How do you type in music ideas? I didn't think it would have like a sheet note option.
It doesn't.
Although that would be pretty cool.
Oh, how great would that be? Like either like sheet music or like tablature option for a guitar. But my way of trying to get.
Hey, it's a Richie.
Love to keep bringing me back on, huh?
I just kind of sent the invite out to various people in my circle. Figured whoever can pop on, can pop on.
Excellent.
And for
more people.
And for the viewers, it's Richie Roberts, the manager of Anything New in Media Entertainment, Fairy Tale Podcast, Konoha Corner Podcast, and 50 billion other things.
So true. It's basically I'm looking at putting up my icon for my lower third and going, what should I use? I do way too much. Don't let me interrupt, though. Please continue with what you were talking about.
Yeah, Calvin.
Okay, so for writing down like music ideas, I'll try my very best to figure out the chord structure and just type in the chord that I'm looking for, and just put down notes and just put down note names and etc. and just hope to God that I can remember the rhythm and the time signature and the structure by the time I come back to it, maybe a couple hours later or a couple of days later. This is something that I've been trying to a workflow that I've been trying to streamline for at least 10 years now.
Yeah, I know that feeling. It's easier said than done.
Yeah. So I try my best to get the notes down and just hope for the best.
Oh, Richie, we were just backtracking on talking points. If you care to give your opinion, the talking point was, how do you go about organizing your ideas and fleshing them out?
Well, I'm the wrong person to ask for that. Just have an idea, we try it out, and it never works. That's generally, or the rare occasion where it does work, and then I'm stuck with it for over 34 years. I don't know. The podcast thing just kind of happened randomly. I was like, why don't we just do a podcast? Because I was listening to One Piece podcast back in the day, and I was like talking with some friends. Like, it was like every Wednesday night, Thursday night, I would call a friend of mine, Eric, who old-time listeners would know as Killer B. And like we'd spend like 2 hours on the phone just talking about the manga. And so I was like, why don't we just do this as a podcast, man? I've already heard so many other podcasts, and I was listening to a Naruto podcast, and like the coolest thing happened to me. I sent them an email after listening to a podcast because it was in the Pain arc that was going on in the manga, the fight between Pain and Naruto. And they forgot to mention Konohamaru, and I was like, Konohamaru's kind of a badass. Why didn't y'all talk to him? Talk about him and stuff like that. And so they read my email out on the show, and I was like, oh, that's the coolest thing ever. And that's why I'm still a big advocate about, like, sending an email and, like, getting people on the show and heard on the show and all that stuff. Because it meant so much to me. I can only assume that it would mean a lot to so many other people. But honestly, it just came up randomly. I was just like, why don't we just do a show? Because, it's cheaper than my phone bill, most likely. And that's kind of where it was. And we looked on Naruto. We looked on iTunes and looked at all the podcasts. And as I said before, it's a Naruto graveyard. iTunes is. And now I've officially contributed to that graveyard because I don't have the money to post my stuff up on iTunes anymore, because it was like $30 a month, and then we could never get caught up. And if I wanted to do, and that was when we were trying to catch up, we had a $75 a month fee because we were able to post up 2 gigs at a time. And then I realized that by doing it the way that we were doing before with the MP4, or not the MP4s, but the M4As, where you could actually skip to different segments and stuff like that, or skip to the end if you didn't want to be spoiled on the manga and stuff like that. If you wanted to skip that stuff, those files are really, really large, as opposed to just an MP3 file, which would have made it where we could just put it up like so easily.
Yeah.
And now that we can actually put full episodes up on YouTube, I'm just like, yeah, we'll just stick with YouTube. Do it that way. Also, it means
surprisingly convenient.
Yeah. Also means that I don't have to edit, even though that's sometimes a good and a bad thing, because I mean, when it goes up, it's up.
Yeah, for better or worse.
For better or worse, but I mean, at the same time, with Fairy Tail, I still have the Libsyn account open, so Fairy Tail Podcast is still up on iTunes, and we just posted episode 90 today, like maybe an hour ago.
Nice.
I went through and edited through that one. We've got to work on 91 and 92, and then our conversation with Adam Sheehan. Those are the next 3 files that are going to go up, and then I'm full for the month. I can edit it, but I can't put anything up online until around the end of July. So that's how that works. That's how it works. Well, actually, yeah, end of July, I'll probably be able to post like 1 more episode. Again, like, for the amount of upload space that we have, it's a certain amount of money. So like, if I wanted to put up more episodes that month, I'd have to change it to pay more. So, but I mean, I'm the worst person that like put together, like, have an idea and how do we set up all the processes for that idea. As OCD as I am, that part really is like, it's random. It's kind of like, hey, let's do this, and then we get started, and it's basically trial and error that we learn what to do and what not to do. And that's how it's always been for me. It's like making mistakes. I always encourage people to make mistakes, because if you don't make any mistakes, how do you learn?
Very true.
And I am the poster child for making mistakes at podcasting, at life, at whatever. But
yeah,
I think it's...
For Calvin and me, our motto was always kind of, what could go wrong? Although half the time our follow-up was...
My motto is always, if everything's going to go wrong, how do I keep it going? I already know that everything's going to go wrong. What can I fix? It's like, how do I... And it's kind of gotten... And this has been said probably on the show too, is like, if I were to leave the podcast and let them just kind of do things, like they said, the whole thing would break apart because I'm the one that kind of guides everybody or something, and I'm like, I'm not the only one that does that. And yeah, but you're the only one motivated to. And I'm like, okay, that part's probably true. But I have help with stuff. It's I'd say the number one thing is get people that you can really trust and depend on to help you out. I think the biggest problem with us is we're all lazy, myself included. So it doesn't really help when you have a bunch of lazy people and you're like, oh yeah, we need to do stuff. Oops. But I mean,
says the man who runs three different podcasts.
They're lazy to a point. Raven's really, really good about getting stuff up on the website on time. She's really good about it. And I'm so glad I handed her the website, because that's a whole thing that I just didn't want to deal with anymore. Now, if only I could find somebody that was just as awesome at DeviantArt to put them in charge and just organize the hell out of everything on DeviantArt, or at least like 4 people that I knew I could trust. Because I've just let Konoha Corner go wild, and I haven't updated anything on DA, and I haven't freaking posted anything on DA. I remember when we actually used to go bi-weekly and do like let the fans vote on fan art, and we were like, yeah, this became a hassle. Like there was so much stuff to do pre-show that I was like, yeah, I can't do it. Can't do it. Also, I posted a question to you in the comments. So, yeah.
YouTube comments.
Oh no, the
Oh.
chat.
Oh, hey, there's a chat. I should pay attention to that.
The only difference is I've been working Google Plus a little longer than you. That's it.
Yeah, I've played around with it, but I haven't really dug in deep to all the little fiddly details.
Right. Well, I mean, I have to do this on just about a daily basis. Like tomorrow, I have to do this again with Kent Williams, who's going to be on the show for Fairy Tale. So I can go ahead and announce that. We've got Kent Williams. He's going to be Jura in Fairy Tale. But I lovingly know him as the ogre George Saltome from Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh,
He's
no
the
way.
narrator for Yu Yu Hakusho. And that's my first.
Awesome.
That's my first thing with him. And then he's also the cat in Darker Than Black, the talking cat. And I'm like, that's so cool. But like, I mean, I have to teach them, you know, what we do on Google Plus, and we only use probably about 10% of what we can do with a Google Hangout. We haven't really played around because we're scared of screwing things up. One of these times, we're just going to do a Hangout live on air, and we're just going to call it The Test. And we're just going to do whatever we can on there and try and mess with it. And just, we're going to be like, it's not going to be a show. We're just going to put a live episode up there and call it The Test and be like, dude, we're just basically testing the crap out of this. It's a good idea, actually. I think we should do that. See, that's how the idea implementation is born.
If I were to do something like that, I would find a way to break Google Plus, and then I'd have to have Calvin come on to fix it. Because anything that I manage to implode, he fixes.
Yeah, that's
that
true.
Sounds about right. For it's everyone on the podcast. It's communal. It's a communal effort to break programs, and then it's up to Caleb and Doctor and maybe Raven to all get together as a think tank and fix. Because when you break Google, it's not something that easy. You know.
I'll find a way. I'm pretty talented at breaking things.
I have officially broken the internet, I'm sure. At some point in time, I broke the internet. Which was, I'm sure there was much rejoicing because there was one day, there was a day of not hatred being spewed all over the place because I broke the internet. And then there was much sorrow because there wasn't, like, I don't know. But yeah, that's my implementation process. There you go. It's non-existent. That's the best way to describe it. I was sitting on a panel a couple of months ago with a couple of other people who do voiceover work and mostly like abridged stuff and everything like that. And it was just kind of like, you know, the unprofessional voiceover panel, and which is really funny because I've actually done professional work. And so have several people up there. And they're like, you know, everybody's like abridging. How did you get into voiceover? Blah, blah, blah. Everybody, you know, they have these really awesome reasons and things that got them in there. And it gets to me, and I'm like second to last, and I go, podcasting.
Oh, hi, home phone. Why are you ringing?
That was appropriately timed.
Yeah,
But I get up to the mic and I'm just like, podcasting. That's how. Done. And everybody just kind of looks over. I was like, oh, you wanted an explanation? Oh, I'm sorry. Oops. Because everybody turns it over interested because everybody else started off with like major acting credentials, and I'm just like the guy. I was like, I'd done high school drama and I'd done drama when I was a child. Like I'd done commercials when I was a kid. I was a model. Blah 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 blah. All that crap. And it sounds fascinating. I'm sure it's not. But basically, I was like, what got me into it was just I I started podcasting, and I started kind of podcasting is weird because it's almost like being a DJ, but without music. So it's almost like a radio talk show, but you can talk about whatever you want, and it's completely uncensored, and you don't have to worry about sponsors and shit like that. Well, I'd like to worry about sponsors. Could we get sponsored by people and make podcasting my legit job? I'd love to do that. Anything that helps me pay the bills at this point is much appreciated. But yeah, I get into this and I'm like, oh yeah, well, we joked around about dubbing the manga, and then we actually started dubbing the manga. And then I was like talking to some of my friends who are voice actors, and they were like, well, I mean, you could get into voiceover. I mean, you've got funny voices, and you're able to get acting inflection across, like you know how to act with your voice. And I'm like, no, I don't. And they're like, okay, well then it's natural. And I'm like, okay, that's probably true. But I mean, the thing is, I had a couple of my friends who are voiceover actors talk me into it, and they listened to a couple of the serious manga dubs that we did, and not that the content was serious. It's just that we took it seriously when we did those manga dubs. We were very like, I directed them, and we put it all together and stuff like that. Whether it was sound effects or not, we just kind of did it. The improv stuff they thought was kind of funny, but yeah, they said it sounded a lot better when we actually recorded it in post and put it all together. But I don't know, they talked me into it. I went on to Voice 123, and I started learning from other people and getting advice from my friends and other people on how to put together demos and stuff like that. So I'd say that's probably the best example of my process of doing things. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Then my mic got stolen, and now I can't make money. Yeah. So that's why I sound like crap right now.
Cue clever segue to talking point number 2.
That was only the first one? Oh no.
Yeah. Second one was, do you edit and proofread digitally or on printed paper? What's more effective for you? And in your cases, since it's not writing as much, you're welcome to vamp as necessary.
Who's going first? I don't know.
Eeny, miny, Calvin.
All right. Well, since most of my life is digital, it's fair to assume that all of my proofreading and anything related to writing stuff down and reading stuff back is all digital. My proofreading instrument of choice is my tablet, especially because I use things like Evernote and Google Drive to excuse me, to keep up with everything, write things down. But I also use Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word to do all my typing, and I have a lot of cloud storage between Box, SugarSync, again Google Drive. So I can move all my Word documents into the cloud very easily and push it to my tablet and kind of proofread at my leisure. I can't say I find it easier per se. It's more convenient because I don't always have paper available in the house to print stuff out. But I will say with proofreading the work of others, printing everything out has been more advantageous, in my opinion. Especially because you can, there's options to like print out 2, 3, 4 pages in one page, and I can run through everything very quickly. And for me, that helps the process move faster, especially if there's 200 some odd pages to go through and write comments for and spell check. So I can't really say that. My personal preference is digital, but I will use printed. I will go for printed proofreading when I see it advantageous for a given situation.
And how about you, Richie?
I operate primarily everything digital, so I don't think I've worked with print in a while. To quote the great Dr. Egon Spengler, print is dead. So, yeah.
I disagree.
Ghostbusters reference there, people. That's how old I am. Showing my age. I was 3 years old when it came out.
Then again, print is on dead trees, so I guess that's accurate.
Well, I mean, the paperback books and stuff like that, like it's slowly going away and everything's converting to digital.
My library says otherwise.
Well, your library may say otherwise, but it's just how the rest of, I wouldn't necessarily say the world, but the rest of the first world countries are definitely moving to digital.
Well, nuts to them.
Yeah. But I mean, primarily everything I do is digital. I type everything up in Word, and it makes it a lot easier to edit. I wish I proofread more than I actually do. It's usually around the time that I've gone through 3 edits, and I'm on my. I've released the 3rd draft of the scripts out to others to read them and go over and do their lines, and then I guess you could say it's kind of a George Lucas motif. Like Harrison Ford said, you can type this shit, but you can't say it. You know. So sometimes when I type stuff up, it's always really good to have other people go over and read lines with me, so that I can realize you can type this shit, but you can't say it. Because there's always like little typos and stuff that I missed, or like a joke doesn't seem funny, or something like that. So I try to make sure I get people to proofread stuff for me, and like point out when there's grammatical issues, or if something seems like it would be best suited not being in there or moved over somewhere else just a little bit. So, and I do that too. I proofread other people's stuff and give opinions. I don't consider myself like very knowledgeable on such things, but apparently they say that I'm good at it. No, I'm not. But whatever. I'll read your shit. I'll be your free editor. I think that's the only reason really why they're doing it and why they keep buttering me up is because I don't charge them. I think that's the real issue there. Post it up on Fairy Tale Podcast, so hopefully you'll get some more viewers soon.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
No problem. CCWII wants to know, is it too late? Is what too late?
That was me.
Yeah, that was him.
Oh, okay. I was like, who is CWII?
Yeah, that was me.
I saw that.
There's been no other comments since. So.
Yeah.
Get more people. Look here, people. Come check it out.
Well, while we're waiting for random viewers to appear, talking point number 3, the last one. What is your preferred writing method? Kind of overlapping on the previous ones. Like, do you do computer, notepad, tablet, typewriter?
I remember typewriters.
I have 3 of them.
I do not prefer typewriters. Not anymore. When I first started typing stuff up on typewriters, because I was at my grandparents' house, and I don't even remember what I was specifically typing. I just remember I was typing something, and I remembered how annoying it was when you up on something. Like,
yeah,
I really missed having a computer when I make a typo. Because on a typewriter, you might as well have everything that you've written by hand typed up and know exactly how you're going to. Typing on a typewriter is horrible.
Yeah, my usual typewriter process.
I don't like it.
My process with the typewriter is type, 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 damn! Type, 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 don't!
Yeah. So I would say computer is probably the best way for me now to type. Like if I was going to type up anything, put together a story, write songs, anything like that, because I love Word. Good.
Word is my friend.
Same here. And how about the Calvin?
Touching on a lot of what I said in the first question, I have many a device to type at any given moment because ideas happen at any given moment. So if I'm not at my computer, it'll either be the phone or the magic tablet of magicness here. Although sometimes typing on this tablet can be just unbelievably annoying because for some reason this is things get really quirky and random spaces will show up in words that I'm trying to type, and I'm like, okay, the space bar is 3 rows down. Where did that space come from?
Yeah, I'm still getting used to trying to type on a tablet. It's a unique experience.
Yeah, it definitely takes some getting used to. It might also be advantageous of me to try to look for another keyboard app. I've gone through a couple, and they're really not doing it for me like I was hoping they would.
Well, if you happen to find a good one, let me know.
All right, you got it.
Because the default one is silly.
And it gets funky at times. The original keyboard for this tablet, which, mind you, is actually a repurposed HP touchpad. It originally had WebOS on it, but I managed to cram my Android ice cream sandwich on here. But the ice cream sandwich default keyboard is bad news bears, man. I don't know. But currently I'm using Swipe, the Swipe keyboard.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that one yet.
That one's actually not bad, especially for typing a portrait. If you get tired of trying to use your thumbs or your fingers, just hold the tablet in one hand and just swipe away. And that actually streamlines things just a bit. But then you also have to contend with the default dictionary, which doesn't have all the words that I use on a regular basis.
Same here.
So it's a real learning curve on the tablet. The phone isn't as bad, mainly because for certain ideas, if I have the phone with me, I'm not going to type a whole lot on it. So for like very simple stuff, like lyric ideas that are usually like no more than like 5 sentences, the phone is perfect.
Have you used Google Voice or some equivalent at all for getting the stuff typed up?
I've tinkered around with Google Voice for a couple of things here and there. It works to a certain extent. I wouldn't like. I don't feel it's at a point where I can use it for like everyday note taking and dictation. Or if I were to use voice anything, I would just use a voice memo app. And again, that's where Evernote comes in. Evernote has voice memos and everything. And that actually comes in handy when I have melodies in my head, so I can just hum into my phone the melody, which helps out tremendously, a lot more than punching in the notes and hoping that I wrote down the right note, because it's happened quite a few times where I just typed in a litany of notes and I go back to read it. I'm like, wait a second, this melody makes no sense. So, voice memos, they've been my friend. So basically a bridge my whole rant there. Actually, I completely forgot the third question. I just went on that whole entire rant, and I'm hoping it was relevant enough.
Yeah, I think it was still in line.
Okay. Oh shoot, what was the third question again?
What's your preferred writing method?
Okay, so to sum up everything, desktop if I can get to it. Most of the time when ideas come, I'm not at my computer. So whatever implement I have on hand.
All right, with that, we'll go back to where I was before people joined me. The What Have You Been Reading segment.
Oh, God.
So I guess the first question would be, have either of you read anything in the last week worth commenting on?
Really, really bad fan fiction. And that's
If it's
mostly
anything from
for the show.
podcasts, yes.
Yeah. If anybody's been checking out the podcast, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and we have to go through like 10 of them and pick maybe about one or two. And if you think you guys get a headache from listening to it, nah. Just imagine having to go through a bunch of them and like try to prove what we can talk about on the show and what we can't. It's very different. So yeah, kind of the behind-the-scenes process right there. As far as actual like reading anything goes, I kind of been cheating on this one. The most recent thing I read this week is manga. I read the volume 22 and 23 of Fairy Tail because I picked those up. So
Nice.
So, well, actually, I didn't pick those up. A friend picked those up for me. 'Cause I don't have that kind of money. But that means I have up to volume 24 of Fairy Tail, which means I'm only 2 volumes behind. until next month when the 27 drops, and then I'm 3 behind again. So, as always, it's better than being 6 behind, I guess.
True.
But I haven't read any books lately. I've got audiobooks and stuff. Like when I'm not actually editing audio and I'm working on like some other stuff, or I'm like trying to do scripts and stuff, I'll put them on in my ears and kind of listen to it. I've been meaning to get to the items on my list is I need to listen to Song of Fire and Ice, all the George R. Martin stuff, all the Game of Thrones stuff, and I'm like seriously worried about listening to that because I'm like, am I gonna hate the show just because I read the books? You know, I don't want to hate the show, but and then The Origins of Palpatine, the book Darth Plagueis. I'm gonna read that. I love the Star Wars books, and that's why I'm gonna be at GMX in Nashville because Timothy Zahn will be there, and he is the man responsible for bringing back Star Wars back in the 90s. He created the Grand Admiral Thrawn trilogy, and he's the one who kept me. He's the one who kept me out of, well, not out of trouble, but at least out of half the trouble that I could have gotten into when I was in school. Because I didn't stay out of trouble, but I got a lot of crap for reading Star Wars books and bringing Star Wars books to school. And I'm like, look, dude. And this was a thing that I've been saying all through high school and everything. I was like, the Star Wars books are what are saving you right now. Because if I didn't have the Star Wars books, I'd have already punched you in the face for being rude. And that's because that's the kind of kid I was. I was a very, very bad child. Not exactly a great adult either, but it was much worse as a child. Raping hormones causes violence. That's my excuse anyway. And no, I haven't read anything recently. So
Well, for me, it was last week was The Convergence by Joseph Lalo, and then there was the sequel to that called no, the first one was The Book of Deacon, and then the sequel was The Convergence, and the third book is something I don't even remember. But I started the sequel last week, and some of the characters I thought died dramatically. Oh wait, they got better. And some of the characters I thought should have died didn't, which was consistently annoying. I kind of like what Lalo's done with the series so far, with the main character being forced to be the leader of a group that some of them tolerate her, some of them openly outright hate her. One of them kind of has the IQ of a potato, so I don't really know where she stands. But it's been interesting to kind of see the character interplay between them all. And I'm really curious how the big ultimate evil from another dimension is going to play out in the last book, because they have some stupid sandglass timer countdown of doom that's supposed to be the end of the world somehow, but they won't tell me how. But I'll probably be able to talk about that next week, presuming I finish it by then. And considering I've been reading about 3 hours a day, I probably will finish it by then. And Z Calvin?
Like, I really wish I had like the wherewithal to to read that often throughout the day. I honestly feel I'd be a better person if I read at least 3 hours a day. But there's actually a few books on my to-do list, and currently in my Kindle. I've got the Ouroboros Cycle by G.D. Falkson. G.D. Falkson is a sci-fi writer and a steampunk enthusiast, which is how I first heard about him. And so, the tagline of the Ouroboros Cycle is a monster's coming-of-age story. So, I'm really looking forward to finding the time to read that. Another book in my to-do list is Infernal Devices by K.W. Jeter, which is like one of the early steampunk precursors. I'm sure you're noticing a trend here.
Trend? What trend?
I also have Technomancer by B.V. Larson. This is on my to-do list. Another steampunk-inspired tale. And a book that I've actually started reading is called Septiles and Other Places by an author named Donna Carrick. It's a mystery novel, one in a series of mystery novels by this author. Kind of interesting how I came across her. She started following me on Twitter. I have no idea why, but
You just make friends everywhere, don't you?
It seems that way. So I started looking at some of her work, and I came across this one, and it looked kind of interesting. I'm not terribly big on mysteries. I don't know a whole lot about mystery novels and the like, but so far it's been kind of interesting. It's about a singer who left her town many years ago, coming back for the funeral of an old flame of hers back when she was a teenager. And it's pretty obvious that he was murdered, and so that's where everything begins there.
When in doubt, the butler did it.
These are mystery novels, not Clue.
Shush.
haven't come across any butlers just yet in the story, but hey, you
They're
never
too busy
know.
butling, obviously.
Every day I'm butlering.
I wonder if there's a random butler dance to go along with that.
I'm sure there is on the internet.
Yeah, you You gotta have a plate though, and be like carrying like some juice or something. You can't see, but I'm like almost moonwalking with my feet. Yeah, that's how it works. Every day I'm butlering. Here you go, sir. Jolly good. You have to throw at least a couple of jolly goods in there, otherwise it just doesn't work. Yeah.
The butler shuffle.
The butler shuffle.
I'm into it.
I'm telling you, we're gonna come up with a real butler shuffle sometime. Every day I'm butlering. Yeah. Let's get on that. Copyright that. Get that going.
Sounds like something worth doing at a convention, just to confuse people.
I could do it. I could dress up as like, because I have all this stuff for cosplaying as like, so formal Natsu, like Natsu when he wears his formal attire, and most of that's very kind of butlerish. I just put on the wig, put on the outfit. I have to find a tray. I may just take a pizza tray that I have around here, clean it up, and take it with me. And then, of course, Natsu's definition of butlering is probably very different. But anyway, you get the little tray, you hold the tray there, and you get like one of those fake pieces of meat, like the plushy pieces of like ham on a bone or something. You're like, every day I'm butlering. And you put it in your mouth and you just start dancing. That will, I swear. We have a fairy tale panel coming up soon at Anime Southeast. I'll see if I can get a hold of a piece of plushy ham and bring my pizza tray and that cosplay, and we'll put that on YouTube. I don't care. I'm all good with debasing myself for the benefit of others, the amusement of others.
Get Erza in her maid costume to join in.
Well, first off is convincing Erza.
Or at least one Erza. It doesn't have to be the podcasts necessarily.
I was gonna say convincing Bethany to do that. Very different. Then like convincing her is almost like convincing the actual Erza. You just tell the actual Erza, and I'm pretty sure she'd love to do it. But yeah, there's this whole thing of fear going on with Erza from the podcast. We fear her, but there's good reasons.
It's Erza. Everyone fears her.
Well, a lot of the crew fears Bethany. I kind of know her. She's like that older sister that can chastise the crap out of me. So that's why I thought she would. That's when I was like, yeah, she's Erza. It's 100% that she's Erza. So I was like, yeah. It's also the reason why she's Sakura on the show. So, but anyway, I digress. Every day I'm butlering. Yeah. It's gonna become the next meme. I just know it. I want to just go ahead and state that people make absolutely $0 on memes. So just because something's popular doesn't mean that they're like suddenly famous or like, they don't make money like celebrities and stuff do.
That's just
dancing like a butler do. That should be a thing.
That's kind of the cost of wanting to be part of the whole realm of pop culture and cult status. It's kind of a draw.
Yeah. I was like, man, if celebrities were as broke as we are. See, I don't go out and get like plane licenses and stuff, get my flight license because I don't have that kind of money. And secondly, I don't even trust myself behind the wheel of an aircraft, so I doubt there's many other people that would. If I'm going to crash, I will aim for the house of the most annoying person I know. Like, I will take you with me. Because I don't truly hate anyone, but I'm annoyed by them. Anyway, there's
That is
stuff we
good
were
to know.
talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at this point we can roll over to upcoming events.
I have way too many of those.
Our primary event is Connecticon
Woo.
on July 11th to the 14th. Or I guess
Woo.
technically the 12th to the 14th.
Hey, same weekend I have something I'm doing too. The exact same weekend, man.
Well, you're doing something every weekend at this point.
No, not every weekend. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're trying to contact me while I'm at ASE, I'm not gonna be able to jump on the show, dude. It's not.
No, during Connecticon we're not doing an episode.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I have to do the Konoha Corner stuff, otherwise we're gonna have no episodes in September. So we'll have to find a way to do it, and I'll have to talk to the staff and everything about setting up for that. But basically, I have 3 conventions in September, 2 in October, 2 in November, 1 in August, 1 in July. So it's a good time.
We just have the one in July.
Yes, yes.
We're
Yeah.
going as a vendor in the Artists Colony.
The Artist Colony, it's not the Artist Alley.
No, we've evolved to an entire colony.
So you went from being skeezy people in an alley to downgrading to a group of ants.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. You all
Very,
want
very
hype?
skeevy ants.
Very skeevy ants and bees. So my question is, who is the queen?
Me.
And
I'm the leader.
you're the queen of the colony? Poor
For
man.
the entire colony, I don't know. It's probably a free-for-all.
Oh, well, whoever becomes queen, just remember that person will be the one getting the files, so other workers can be populated.
Fair enough.
Horrible mindset. Hunter, how you destroyed my mind. But, same weekend, we have Anime Southeast in Sevierville, Tennessee. I got 6 panels, which would be 8 hours of content. I'm also running a table, doing press stuff, and trying to see if we can hang out and have breakfast with Sherman.
Nice.
And this will be the first of 2 cons that I'll be seeing Lucy at. Lucy/Asuna. Those are the ones I'm really excited. The 2 of them. This is the first of 2 cons that I'll see her at. I've got Anime Blast in Chattanooga that I'll see her at, and that won't be nearly as far as Sevierville. Sevierville is about 4.5 hours away. Anime Blast is actually about 2.5, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, thankfully Connecticon's only a couple hours drive from me.
Well, I'm just glad I have, out of all these cons, that I have 2 of them in Nashville. GMX and KaiCon are both in Nashville, so they're maybe about 20 minutes away downtown.
Nice.
Not
They're
bad.
not insanely that far. And, for those 2 cons, I don't have to worry about having somebody to look after my dog. Because every time that I go out to a con, I have to give my dog to my neighbor. People don't really think about that. I'm like, look, I have animals, and I don't have people staying here to watch them. So, fun times.
Yeah, for us, we have no panels, unfortunately. Maybe next year. But we just have our vendors table in the Artists Colony between Fluffy Kitten Studios and Paper Hearts Studios. So look for the frilly tables, and whoever's in between will be us.
How many people is us?
Myself, Calvin over there, and whoever else we can kidnap to help out.
Kidnap? I like that term. I use that term a lot. Kidnap. Yeah.
No, we will be nice about it.
Eh.
We'll give them a 10-second heads up.
Attention.
You are
them-
about to be kidnapped. Here is the burlap sack that we are about to put over your head. You have 3 seconds to react.
Also, I have a lasso. They won't have much of a choice, but they'll know in advance. Enough.
Right. See, he signs on and then he signs off. I'm like, what's up with Doctor? You're on, then you're off.
Yeah, I had a couple people who claimed interest in joining us today, but they are mysteriously absent. I have a feeling they got distracted by shiny objects.
Those damn shiny objects.
It's probably Skyrim.
Hey,
Or maybe
no
Borderlands
excuses.
2.
Hey, no excuses. I'm on Borderlands 2. I paused for this. I got done with an episode and I'm like, Borderlands 2 time. Now that I'm not like playing like a noob, I feel good. Like I actually know what the heck I'm doing.
We have actually one last event for July, although it's a lot smaller in scale. It's not a convention, it's just a world-building workshop on the 27th over at the La Quinta Hotel in Danbury, Connecticut. It's just a 4-hour workshop or interactive workshop on how to go about building your universe, fitting your characters within it, and keeping everything in some semblance of order so you don't have a big bang at the end. Unless that's part of your plot.
Sounds intriguing.
Yeah, if you're available that weekend, you're welcome to come up for it.
What date is it again?
It's the 27th. I believe that's a Saturday. I'd invite you, Richie, but I think you're a little too far away for it to be worthwhile.
So far, nothing. So
I live below the Mason-Dixon line, so it's a bit of a travel. Yeah, Tennessee to Connecticut, kind of a distance thing, maybe.
just a tad.
Just slightly.
A random question for you, Richie. At all your appearances, do you have a specific type of outfit you wear for them, or just standard attire?
Me. I go to most of the cons as me, giving up on cosplay for the most part because I mean it's just too stressful, especially when I see other people that are doing like 5-6 other cosplay. They're like, oh, I love cosplay, and then they have to run back and forth, and I see all this stress, and I'm like, do you really love cosplay? I'm like, I'd understand if you had 3 cosplay and you did one for a full day. You weren't like constant, but no, there are people that do like 2-3 a day. Oh man, nah.
Cool. Me, I have I've decided for random cons, I decided to be steampunk. So thankfully, you can be very open-ended with steampunk.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to go as a character or anything. Basically, I just go as steampunk me.
I don't know the way you got the beard and the stash going, the way you're rocking the beard and the stash. You could totally go as like kind of a steampunk Lando Calrissian. Find you a steampunk Han Solo, and y'all will be good. Charles, get on that. Charles, get on that.
I'll see what I can do.
Steampunk Han Solo. I don't know how y'all be able to work out a steampunk Chewie. It'd be kind of weird. It'd be very difficult, I think. Or just give him like, give a Chewbacca cosplayer a top hat and
There's a more pronounced mustache.
a more pronounced mustache, and and a monocle, and then like make the Bandella out of just gears. I mean, definitely a bunch of gears. That's his Bandella. Yeah, there you go.
I can see
We'll
our
do a
friend
steampunk.
Will figuring that out somehow.
Yeah, there you go. Steampunk Chewbacca, done. I mean, it's not like I follow a guy that's called Steampunk Boba Fett, and he's freaking awesome. So.
Yes, I have met Steampunk Boba Fett. I love that guy.
Yeah, Steampunk Fett is amazing. I haven't heard. It's like Sunday is the day that nobody wants to talk to me when I'm trying to get people. Because I was going to try and bring people on, and then like, yeah, that never happened. Like, everybody on the show is lazy on Sunday.
It's a good day to be lazy on.
About to call Elfman and be like, yo, why you not be on? You say you're on, but you're not on. That's a lie.
Well, at this point, we only have the talk about the writing prompts for the week, and then it's just if we feel like talking about anything else. And then it's just the wrap
I don't
up.
have anything really to talk about. I'm sorry. I'm a horrible guest for this show, I think. Because I don't have a lot to contribute. I'm just here. I apply the humor if I can. I don't know. I got nothing. Yeah.
I supply everything else.
Woo.
Then I shall supply the writing prompts for the week in all their prompty goodness.
Prompty goodness.
Prompty.
This week's writing.
If you want to check out good comedic writing, I was just getting a chance to check out the Tiny Tina DLC in Borderlands. Oh my god, so many great moments. Like the writers and the voice actors must have had a lot of fun doing that.
Is it for 1 or 2?
2.
I haven't gotten to 2 yet.
You can just check it out on YouTube, I guess.
There's that.
Yeah. And then I love it because there's actually an optional quest on there where you can actually go and beat Prince Jeffrey, but basically it's Joffrey. It's a throw at Lord of the Rings. You kill all of his guard, and then you walk up and you just slap him. And so I took out all of my frustration against Joffrey by meleeing him so many times. I think I was there for 5 minutes just punching him repeatedly. Great stuff. Great stuff. But yeah, there's references to just about everything in Borderlands. Like Borderlands has alludes to or has a there are references to everything in there, and I think that's part of why I love it so much. There's a reference.
Yeah, I'm still working my way through Borderlands 1.
Yeah.
I'm slow with games.
Which one are you playing? Which character are you playing?
Oh Lord, it's been so long I don't even remember.
Is it a girl?
No, it's one of the guys.
Oh, well, never mind then. I was going to say if you were playing the girl, I was going to laugh because that's Colleen Clinkenbeard. Lilith?
Is it?
Yeah, Lilith is Colleen Clinkenbeard, so I find it very funny that when you hear Lilith talking, it's Luffy. So yeah, bring my copy of Borderlands and get everybody to sign it next time. Bring my copy of Borderlands too. Get people to sign it. I've already had so much Fairy Tail stuff signed. I'm like, let's talk about Borderlands 2. Like, I really want to get Chris Sabat on under the pretext of Fairy Tail, and then we just sit around and talk Borderlands with him forever, because Borderlands 2 is all recorded at the studio. Just talk about it. Be like, how much fun was it recording this game? Because there's some crazy shit happening here. I mean, it was done at his studio. I don't know if he directed. I don't know who the ADR director was for it. I had to watch the credits again sometime. Yeah, I have nothing else to comment on. I'm video games and anime, basically. That's my deal.
I'll toss out the link for the writing prompts of this week.
Excuse me.
I finally figured out how to do custom URLs for Bitly. So for this week it is bit.ly/musefood130630. So it's musefood and then the date. Nice and simple. And as with last week, it has 10 one-liners, 10 one-worders, try and mix and match them as you can. If you write a 1,000-word flash fiction piece and submit it to us via wordninja@fcwriters.com, we may read it out live on next week's episode. I would be doing so now, but no one submitted anything from last week. Shame on you. So do it this week, so we can read it out next week. Please.
Yeah, you got to give these things time, man. We barely had anybody watching in our first couple episodes even.
Yeah, I know it's going to be a slow burn, but I figure I'll put it out there for future peoples.
There you go.
You know you wanna.
And with that, I think we'll just wrap it up for the week. I'm Charles Muir, your instigator of literary insanity at Word Ninja Podcast, full coverage writers, and even Fairfield County Writers Group from time to time. Reachable at charlesmuir@fcwriters.com. And who are you, Calvin?
Yes, I am Calvin Williams. I am the go-to guy for all things technical for FC writers. And all the upcoming stuff that will be happening for FC writers. Have you mentioned WNN at all?
No, because I have no idea what WNN is.
Word Ninja Network.
Should have known that. How about you introduce WNN?
Alright. So, Word Ninja Network will be basically Word Ninja Network is going to be our hub for Fairfield County Writers Group, full coverage, and future writing groups and networks from all across the country, and hopefully further than that. We're going to be rolling that out. Well, we're going to first roll out a new full coverage writers website on, I believe we said July 8th.
Yep, that sounds about right.
So, new fcwriters.com coming down the pipe on July 8th. It's going to be at least 50% less blue than the current FC Writers site, and 100% more color palette. And more, all of the quality writing prompts that you've come to expect from FC Writers, plus all the podcasts and a whole lot more shiny objects and doodads for everyone to consume. I am taking the lead on all the technical stuff, the design, making it look pretty, making sure it works properly. So July 8th, check that out. And that's going to be part of the Word Ninja Network, like I said. It's going to be basically our new community where we're going to get everybody together and hopefully make some wonderful stories together, you know?
Yeah, we're really hoping to build a community of various local writing groups there, starting off with Fairfield County Writers Group, and I'm going to be reaching out to a lot of regional leaders from writing groups off of NaNoWriMo, maybe Script Frenzy if there are any left out there, and the Spork Room as well. Basically a lot of online writing groups that have more local writers all grouped together conveniently. And we're going to provide them a space to reach out to each other, network, find editors, proofreaders, agents, whatever connections we can help them make, we're going to do our best to make them.
There you go. So
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, Word Ninja Network will be the community. Fairfield County will be just one of the many groups that we were going to try to get together. Fairfield County is already established, and we're gonna whoever wants to set up a community with us, we're gonna help them out with whatever we can. We have the technology, we have the ability to get them started. All they got to do is supply themselves and the content, and other people, hopefully.
And with that, Richie, who are you?
I'm way too many different things. I'm Richie Roberts. I'm a voice actor, podcaster, writer, director, abridger. There's so many different things. Oh God. Panelist, convoy. I do a lot of things. You can find Fairytale Podcast pretty easily. Google that shit. I mean, seriously, just I give this out for both shows all the time. Fairytalepodcast.wordpress.com, konohacorner.wordpress.com. Anime News Network is a good place to go if you want to find out more stuff about your favorite shows. Let's see. Anything new in media entertainment, new nerdy news channel. Anime news channel or anime channel news. I still can't remember which one it is. I'm not on it enough. That's the sad part. Anime news channel or anime channel news on Facebook. Yeah, that's the other thing we do. And Manga Abridged on Facebook and YouTube. Good stuff. Check that out. That is pretty much it, I think. Probably got a lot more that I'm just not going to talk about. But yeah, that's what I do. I do stuff and things with bells and whistles. Sometimes. And right now I'm playing Borderlands 2. I had to press pause and then unmute and then yeah. I can do both at the same time, so the rest of your people have no excuses. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Bad.
Yeah, hopefully next week we'll have a few more people on, and we can give you a break.
All right.
Oh yeah, with everything that I mentioned, I failed to mention all that I'm doing, or how to contact me, for that matter. I'm a web designer. You can find my portfolio at calvin.cwillia.ms. It's a fun take on my full name, Calvin C. Williams. Just put some periods in between some of them, and you'll figure out the website. calvin.cwillia.ms. You can email me if you have any questions about the FC Writer site, any technical issues. It's the webmaster at fcwriters.com. If you're looking for somebody to build you a website, Calvin at cwillia.ms. Or you can say hello to me at Twitter at ccwii. There you go.
All right, and with that, I think we're going to sign out. Until next week, all.
Cheers to
Well, for the future people out there listening or watching this, I would pass on a question of what is one of your favorite writing quotes? What sort of inspiration and one-liners have you heard about writing where you thought, oh yeah, that's a good one. I should remember that one. Which ones do you appreciate or thought were clever? Post in the comments. Or even on our Facebook page. Please. Alright, I guess we'll roll into the second piece of, or the second website that I thought was interesting that caught my eye this week. It's Cube Creator. It's a very long website URL, but it's from www.readwritethink.org, and it's just called the Cube Creator. It has a couple preset templates for 6 sides of the cube for figuring out your bio, type of the mystery, or just key elements to a story. You can even create your own cube. It gives that option and the ability to save it. But it's basically just kind of looks like it's Flash based or something like that. Gives you the option of writing a question or... Sorry about that. I forgot that volume was up on that. My bad. Let's silence that for the live stream. Otherwise, this thing will be shouting spoon at us all afternoon. Where was I? The Cube Creator has a little worksheet for planning out 6 questions or topics, and you can fill in your responses. And once you fill out the little template and whatnot, you can see a little 3-dimensional view. What is that? Sorry, I just keep getting some sort of notification ding in my headset. I'm not sure what program is doing that at the moment. Anyway, this website is really cool and worth checking out. And you can have a lot of fun, and it gives you the option of saving whatever little cube you create, which is pretty cool. I haven't actually finished one full out, but I mean, for example, the bio cube gives you prompts for person's name, time period, and place. Another side would be the personal background, personal traits, what their significance is to the stories, what obstacles do they face, and some important quote. Presumably might be like their catchphrase or something that kind of embodies what that character stands for. And it just gives you the ability to fill in the information for those prompts so you can have it easily on hand, kind of like a story Bible, as it were, for particular parts of your story. It's really cool, and I think I'm going to use it in the future. If any of you have actually utilized this in the past, present, or future, post a comment about what you thought of it. Did it work for you? Did it not? Was it really cool or just frustrating? Let us know. We're curious. Or should I say, I'm curious, since I'm still the only one here. Where are these people? I'm not sure what happened to them. Most frustrating. Anyway, the third and last news piece for this week is one of my favorite writing apps for the PC primarily, but it's also available on the App Store for those Apple fans out there. I'm still waiting for the Android version. Not sure how long that's going to take, but I look forward to it when they do. It's called Write or Die, and it's conveniently at the URL writeordie.com. It's basically a timed writing writing software. You set the amount of time you want to write, and it gives you a level of peer pressure, as it were. I mean, it can give you a very annoying sound, like a screeching violin, if you stop writing for too long, as you're trying to not have something to write things down on when I have an idea and I need to try and remember it. Usually late at night when I'm trying to go to sleep and I think, this is awesome, I should remember this, but then I don't write it down, and that sucks, because I won't remember. See, some others were just skimming through them. Protect the time and space in which you write. Keep Everybody Away from It, Even the People Who Are Most Important to You, by Zadie Smith. Another one I'm not familiar with. Shows how many authors I've actually read. It's probably because they haven't done sci-fi or fantasy. Skimming through some more. Oh, a good one by Mark Twain was substitute damn every time you're inclined to write very. Your editor will delete it and the writing will be just as it should be. Which is surprisingly true, at least in the concept of removing the word very and other similar words from your writing. A lot of them are very overused and should only be used sparingly at most, if at all. Oh, and of course, always a good one. Don't Take Anyone's Writing Advice Too Seriously, by Lev Grossman. And that includes anything and probably everything you hear on this podcast. One by Herman Melville that I don't necessarily agree with 100% would be, to produce a mighty book, you must choose a mighty theme. What constitutes a mighty theme nowadays? I mean, that seems more cultural and generational thing. I mean, themes change constantly. How do you know what's mighty and what's not? Skimming through some more. Of course, Stephen King. The scariest moment is always just before. Hello and welcome to the Word Ninja podcast. We're here on June 30th, 2013 for episode 2, Electric Boogaloo. The Word Ninja podcast is an hour-long, give or take, discussion of writing, reading, general literary news of interest at the moment. I'm your instigator of literary insanity, Charles Muir, and today we have no one at the moment. I know there's a few people who said they were interested in joining us, and hopefully they'll be able to get on soon. We shall see how that works out. But I thought I'd get things rolling at 3 o'clock, since that was the suggested start time. And we'll see if anyone happens to be able to join us as we go. Alright, so I thought we'd start things off with some literary news pieces, or at least stuff I saw off of scoopit.com this week that would be worth discussing, although it would have been nicer had we had a few people to discuss it with. We shall see. Let's see. The first article, which is linked on our Facebook page, and it's from the Huffington Post. I know, not the most reliable news source, but it is what it is. It's titled 31 Most Invaluable Writing Pieces of Let's try that again. 31 Most Invaluable Pieces of Writing Advice from Famous Authors. Kind of a mouthful. It's just a slideshow of 31 quotes from various authors. A lot of them from Ernest Hemingway and Stephen King. They have a lot of quotes about writing. And some others that I've actually never heard of offhand. I mean, a quote from Will Self. I'm not sure what he's written. I've never heard the name before, but always carry a notebook. And I mean always. The short-term memory only retains information for 3 minutes. Unless it is committed to paper, you can lose an idea forever. I thought that was an interesting one. I mean, I do try to always carry a notebook or some scrap of paper with me, regardless of where I am or what I'm doing, just on the off chance that I do have an idea at any given time. And I know all too well what it's like before you start. Which is true sometimes. There have been plenty of moments where I've tried thinking about what I need to write, and I just get too caught up in the moment of crap, it's a blank page. What do I do? What do I do? Eventually I come over it, or I just procrastinate and do something else. Depends on the moment. Just checking to see where people are, because theoretically someone was trying to join. Don't know why they're not. We'll see how it goes. Skim through some more of the quotes quickly, trying to buy time. If you do not tell the truth about yourself, you cannot tell it about other people. Virginia Woolf. I don't know about that one. I mean, there are varying degrees of truth. And there are some things that are true, but you probably shouldn't say it. Or at least there are certain ways you should not say it. There is this thing called tact, which a lot of people don't seem to have much anymore. Myself included sometimes. I think we're running out of quotes here that I'm skimming through, but let's see if we can get one more. Alright. Apparently I'm at the last one already, so let's do that one. Wait, 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 wait. Don't try to write through it, to force it. Many do, but that won't work. Just wait. It will come. None other than Toni Morrison. There's a balance to that one. I mean, how long can you wait? How long should you wait? If you wait too long, you might lose the idea entirely, and you'll never be able to get it back. I've had plenty of ideas where I decided to wait too long, and then I forgot the original inspiration behind it. And I just couldn't find my way back into it. And I have a whole series of notebooks with ideas now that I'm probably never going to end up writing or using because I have no idea what they mean anymore. I waited too long.